So this is the last slogan in this series, and then tomorrow we'll finish up with just some comments from Nagarjuna. And today the slogan is kind of a follow-up on the last one, which was, by believing that there are resultant effects, one gets rid of wrong views. So that's the last one that we talked about. So it got us thinking a little bit about the effects of our actions and how we're thinking about them. And so first I think you kind of learned the Buddhist ideas about karma and the Buddhist worldview about, that there's an ethical dimension to our actions, and what we do matters, and you take that on. But then even when you have a certain level of acceptance of that, doubts come up in the mind. And so this next one really, I think, is a kind of a refinement of that. And what Nagarjuna says is, on account of knowing that there will definitely be effects of our actions, one gets rid of doubt. So this is quite helpful to my mind when I read this. One thing that Venerable Children has helped me to be aware of is that when doubt comes up, or when I feel, when there's certain situations that come up in my mind where I'm aware from her helping me see this, that there's a corner of my mind that doesn't believe it. Like, for example, if I think I'm going to, someday get rid of all my anger, or even in the next week be able to work on something and apply an antidote. Sometimes, I can be, thinking I'm doing it, and then it felt like it really wasn't working very well. And I talked to her about it, and she said, well, there's probably a corner of your mind that doesn't really believe this. And as I looked at that, I found that to be the case. Like, I wasn't really, there was a part of me that wasn't believing it enough to make the antidote strong enough, I guess I would say. And so I think with this one, it's been very helpful for me to be aware that doubt is something that will be with us all the way through the path until we get, I don't know, I think I read it's in the path of seeing someplace. So that's pretty far along. You have to have had spontaneous bodhicitta, you have to have the union of serenity and insight, and then you have to have a direct realization of emptiness, and then you're going to be rid of your doubt. So you can expect doubt to come up in your practice. It's natural. So that was a relief, just that piece of knowledge for me. Then it more becomes, okay, well, how am I going to work with this? Recognize it and work with it. And so I think that in this particular verse, they're helping us to see that we need to really take a look at, what are we thinking about our actions? Are we definite that there's going to be an effect? Do you have that certainty in your mind? And if you look at your own experience, you can kind of look at it, and then you can shore these things up that need some shoring up. And it's quite a powerful thing to do, because especially, like, most of us here have had the experience of using as an antidote, like when things happen to us that we don't really enjoy. Because we have the teachings on karma, we know, at least on an intellectual level, that everything we experience, we created the cause for. And that's a very powerful, puts us in a place of a lot of power. Anything short of that, if my happiness depends upon someone else, then I'm kind of stuck to what they do. But if I really have some conviction that it's my mind states that are creating my experience, then I'm not blaming other people. Then I'm taking responsibility for my own experience. And then I'm also kind of in the driver's seat of, like, oh, well, this is a little easier, like Shantideva said in terms of, like, anger. Okay, which is going to be easier, to put some sandals on your feet or to cover the whole world with leather? I think we could just put some sandals on and go walking out and protect ourselves. So that's what they're saying about our own mind. And so we wouldn't do this if we have too much doubt. Doubt is a dead end. This is my experience of seeing this in my own mind. It's been hard for me to recognize. It's, in my mind, usually quite on the emotional side, although they talk about intellectual doubt and emotional doubt. Bhikkhu Bodhi separates those out, and they have kind of different antidotes, but they both rely on learning more and then applying it. Those were the main antidotes in the 5 hindrances for doubt, had a lot to do with learning and clearing up, you know, your questions about things. But a lot of it on the emotional side, which is more mine, is recognizing that I have doubt in my mind, and then just watching the train of thoughts. And after you do that repeatedly, you see that, wow, if I think the same way, I always go to this miserable same dead end. So as soon as I am able to recognize that I'm having doubt in my mind, I'm able to kind of break it by those are the thoughts that work for me. Everyone has to kind of work this out for themselves, their particular constellation. But you know, this I think really helps our confidence, because then we have some definite, you know, kind of thinking about that's in line with reality. So that's going to be helpful. Okay.